Metallica has written just about 100 songs, but what if I told you that we could have 1,000 more legit Metallica tracks, namely 856, and besides that, you'd have a chance to come to love songs that you hated, and vice versa, to hear your all-time favorites butchered. Hi friends, it's Andriy Vasilenko and welcome to MetalliGeek, where we are over-analyzing our favorite bands. It's episode 20 and today it's our second interview, and now we have finally someone from the internet you might know. Someone who I admire myself. This is StateOfMercury, the wizard of Metallica tone and king of what ifs. Like, what if Enter Sandman was on load? What if Disposable Heroes were on Justice?
You blind man!
What if Fuel was a Saint Anger? Even that kind of heresy?
Give me that which I desire!
And so today, I and Calvin from StateOfMercury, we're gonna discuss, guessed it, Metallica, mostly their sonic side, what the secrets of them sounding so heavy, so different, and while remaining the band we know, love, sometimes to hate. And besides that, what is being a YouTuber slash Metallica fan? And also this movement of reworks, what ifs, which StateOfMercury is part of. I would say he is one of the leaders. He's so precise, he's feeling Metallica's essence, something that the band themselves might not replicate now. But check out his masterpieces and subscribe to StateOfMercury, link in description. For those who are new here, MetalliGeek is video series slash podcast. Go on iTunes, leave a review, say how we saw it, and leave 5 stars for that. Get comfy and enjoy the discussion. Check, check. Hui, hui, hui.
Hui.
Hui, yeah.
Hui.
Alright, man. How are you?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm alright. I'm really pumped for this interview.
Me too.
Yet another time, break my bubble and talk to a person who understands me. What is Metallica? What is being a fan of Metallica? And yeah, how do you know Metallica so well? Even better than me, I would say.
I mean, I don't know about better than you, that's for sure, because I've been watching for a long time. But I would say it's mostly just listening, man. It's really just like my dad was a huge fan. Like, I remember plenty of times like listening in the car when I was like 3-4 years old and like hating that my dad would have the stereo just blasted to like 100. And it would always be, I remember like distinct memories of like Battery and like Blackened and everything really heavy. So, I mean, that's where I got it from, was my dad. But, and then since then, they've just been my favorite band anyways. So just nonstop listening, really.
And regarding Battery and Blackened, that's because probably those were the first songs on the CD or cassette that your daddy played in the car. So yeah, that were the first song of the albums, and that's why you remember them the most clearly, because those were the openers. The most kick-ass song.
And the intros, too.
That's what Metallica is known for, their intro. They really like to do something special in the beginning of the first song on the album. So the people are hooked and continue to listen to it. And sometimes they are kind of misleading. Fight Fire with Fire and Battery are they begin with something soft, so people not freak out immediately. And then maybe it's too late. They are already fans 1 minute into the song.
Right.
And then you go through the albums. It has some dynamic. So yeah, that's what we might start talking about Metallica. They are dynamic in many senses. Within the album, within the song, within career. They always change. They have different pace, sound, different color. You never get bored. And what to you makes Metallica so addictive?
Well, guitar player, right? So obviously guitar riffs is number one for me. James Hetfield's obviously like the best rhythm guitar player there ever has been. The way he sings and can play the rhythms at the same time, that's always been something really special to me. Like especially, again, like Battery, that whole riff during the verse is like off-centered to what he's singing. It's like almost impossible to actually play and sing. And I have been playing and singing for a really long time. I find it very hard. And then I'd say just the overall like themes of a lot of the albums. You know, I'm a pretty angry guy myself. I listen to a lot of metal music. I can be pretty emotional. So a lot of it speaks just really to who I am as a person. So
speaking of guitars and Hetfield and riffs, I'm the fan of riffs. Riffs are my favorite part of any metal song.
Me too.
So what do you think? What makes Metallica riffs so special?
Just I mean, back in the day, I would say like just the speed. It feels like James Hetfield was always writing a riff that wanted to sound like almost tribal, like as if it was coming to get you almost. Like it always feels like something behind you, or like something's coming after you. I don't know. Like there's always some menacing part about their riffs that sounds so cool to me. I think at least in their earlier days, I think a lot of having Cliff around, who knew a lot about classical music and all of that, had, you know, how it's so dynamic in classical music. You can, you know, go from highs to lows so easily, and you can do all these different things with different instruments. I think having him around to influence that as well was really pivotal, at least in the early stages.
And on top of great riffs, they actually, for the most part of their career, they did not deviate much from E standard. For a couple of albums, they kind of experimented, but still, Load Reload were still in standard tuning, just half step down for a couple of reasons. And they said Tanker was a complete deviation because other reasons, but then they returned to E standard on Des Magnetic and Hardwired. Yeah. Still using flat tuning on live performances, but still, how they managed to sound so heavy while keeping this very basic default tuning of the guitar. Not so heavy to some people.
It depends on what heavy is. I mean, nowadays it feels a little bit different, right? It seems like the guitars are a lot more like open and crispy than they used to be, especially in metal music. So, you know, back in the day, I would say they were heavier because they did have like a darker tone to their guitars, like, you know, Master of Puppets. The guitar tone, I think, has always been super helpful, like the Mesa Boogie stuff or whatever. But nowadays, I think it's actually more like the combination of all of the instruments. 'Cause I mean, you know, they went a while with kind of bass wasn't really a thing and all that. I mean, even on, you know, the Black Album, even though Jason's like we could hear bass frequencies again, still weren't getting a whole lot of bass stuff. You know, you're still getting eaten alive by guitars. I think it's actually more after And Justice for All being like the drums that helps make it sound heavy as well, because they also write the riff in conjunction with the drums, right? Yeah. Like James and Lars are always kind of going off of each other, so it's like the guitar is a rhythm section as well. So I think that helps with the heaviness.
And how about the approach to composition? How they write riffs? What notes do they include so they sound heavy instead of tuning?
I mean, that's even almost a mystery to me sometimes, because like some of their songs, again, can sound not as heavy. Just maybe it's picking technique, perhaps, but a lot of their riffs, at least that sound menacing, you know, are the E to the F or F to the E or E to the B flat instead of a B. What songs have like a really heavy riff, you know?
Harvester of Sorrow. Say.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that one, like Harvester of Sorrow, again, heavy use of the chromatic scale there. And also the tempo, it's not stuck to a grid, right? So it feels like they've just flowed with the song. And the way that James Hetfield kind of lets a E note hang for like an extra quarter of a beat or something like that. And then the kick, I don't know if it's because Lars is bad at drums or something, or he can't keep, like, I don't know what it is, but it feels like they hang on to certain notes a lot of the times that maybe other bands wouldn't hang on to at the end of a riff or at the beginning of a riff.
They are not afraid of leaving some space to riffs, while some bands maybe they want to fill in all the space within the measure, as many notes as possible. Yeah. They are afraid just letting the chord go, like, and then they strike with something really powerful. Yeah, slow songs, they sound heavy because of they're not fast. You have time to digest all the sound, all the notes in the tempo that you could actually walk to.
Distorted guitars, when you're, you know, letting them hang like that, they get that real deep wow. It's just such a heavy thing to let the strings vibrate like that.
And the one thing that Metallica may use, like a trick to sound heavy all the time. Almost all the time they use E tonality. They use the lowest string, the lowest note, open E on the guitar, to compose most of their riffs and songs. And so it sounds like all Metallica songs are heavy because they use the lowest possible tonality on the guitar. Like 90% of Metallica songs are in E tonality. Even Bob Rock said to them, like, man, why all your songs in E? And James said, well, isn't that the lowest note? And they lowered it on Set by True, one step down, and God It Failed, half step down. And still they were
in E tonality otherwise.
Yeah.
Except ballad. Ballads are usually in A minor. That's exception. That's an illusion. They use the lowest possible note on E standard, which is pretty heavy.
Yeah, I can agree with that for sure. And it's frequent that you're right. They don't really use like the A string is never the main point. Like an A string power chord is never the main point of any of their songs. It's always the E.
I think Dave Mustaine uses it more often than Metallica. But yeah. We have songs not in E and they sound heavy still. For example, Suicide and Redemption in B tonality.
Yeah.
On the standard tuned guitar, it's pretty high. It's like 7 semitones up. That's not so heavy. But you listen to the intro and you think, man, I cannot recall a heavier thing that Metallica wrote in like 2 decades. And that's the trick. You do the inverted power chords. You use the lower fourth. So in B, it's F sharp.
It's like a big hardcore kind of thing, right? Like
yeah, that's the trick to make it heavier in high chords. And that's what Metallica uses in the intro of Suicide and Redemption. And whenever they got something higher than A, probably. Another trick on this particular album, on this particular song, they have 5-string bass to back it up. The intro of Suicide and Redemption is this low growling bass. It would have not worked on a 4-string bass. You cannot get this sound. Really, this riff is working only on 5-string bass. And that's this magic, when bass and guitar do different parts, but they follow the same accents.
Yeah, and that's why you get something so heavy on like even Enter Sandman, you've got that dum 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 on the bass, but you've got the guitar doing the main riff there, and it they're not the same, but they just mesh so well that it just makes a heavy sound.
So let's recap it. Slow tempo, using E tonality as the lowest tonality to make this illusion that Metallica sounds very heavy all the time because E is the lowest. Then using inverted power chords and sometimes using the 5-string bass to compensate for the lack of, heaviness.
The chromatic Metallica scale there too.
Yeah. Any tuning, any tonality, if you use some chromatics and dissonance, a tritone or minor second, and that's where the heaviness comes from the tension. Very heavy MIDI distortion is a big part of it, and very good mixing.
Mesa Boogie amps are a big part of it too, I would say.
Besides that, what tricks Metallica uses to sound heavy in E standard?
Just the normal tricks too, right? That other bands are using, like just the regular guitar layering. You have to layer them to get that chunky sound.
James' wall of sound, left, right, and the thickener.
The thickener, yeah.
They did it for the first album, then they abandoned it on Load and Reload. That's extreme tightness of James's double tracks, like surgical precision on Load and Reload.
Yeah.
They tried something more loose, I don't know. Relaxed. Whatever sounds heavy, it's up to you. What's the source of this dedication to this E standard?
I've been wondering that myself. That's actually been something I've been thinking about a lot lately, because I've been listening to a lot of Hardwired lately, just because it's been a couple of years now. So I'm like, get back into it a little bit. But they always tune down live, so I wonder why they even bother. Why not just record in half step down or a whole step down or something like that? Could be something about guitar tone, maybe, or he just wants to sing. He likes singing in E. And they don't really have a problem tuning either, though, right? Like, he doesn't have a problem tuning his vocals, obviously. So, I mean...
And they don't tune their guitar anymore. So they have guys to do that job for them. To tune the guitars. Yeah. And a couple of songs that stand out, like Bad Seed in C sharp. Standard, no drop. The only drop outside St. Anger was All Nightmare Long, yeah?
Yes.
And that's it. The thing that should not be was the first time.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm pretty sure you're right.
Why then James Hetfield was so surprised by the question by Bob Rock? They used it before.
That is funny why they would even question that, because, I mean, every one of their songs, you're just chugging on an E power chord, basically, for most of the song.
And a lot of heaviness comes from the way James records the guitar.
Yeah.
What can be more heavy than these perfectly mashed double tracks? When you hear this, like, sledgehammer, he's a machine, and that's 40% of all the heaviness. James's ability to lay down those fucking double guitars. Kirk cannot do it.
And just the way he picks the strings, it's like really hitting those strings. You know what I mean? Like you can just tell that like there's a lot of strength in his wrist there. Like slam on those strings so crazy. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's a great physique. You gotta train for it. It's I wish he keeps this kind of strength till he is like 100 years old, because that's the thing that Metallica should not lose. But anyway, I'll accept Metallica in any form. Even again, the approach of load and reload, that one guitar, second guitar, different tracks on each, they're like dialogue. That's also a great thing, and I think that approach to recording, not the double guitar, but Kirk and James doing some different parts, they should return to it, at least maybe on a couple songs, maybe to do something like an album that comprises everything they've been through.
Hey man, I love Load and Reload. I'm a big fan of a lot of songs on there. I mean, people rag on people who listen to singles and all that, but I mean, you can't tell me King Nothing isn't like a pretty badass song. You know what I mean? Like I'll take them. A lot of the songs are radio friendly, but hey, they're listenable. The singing's good on them. The guitar playing, again, they play off each other. It's got its cool, different feel. I just consider them not Metallica songs. If you listen to it in like a different, like, hey, this is another band's music. It's not my normal Metallica.
That was new style, something really all of a sudden, like, oh my god, what Metallica have done. They are blinded by this kind of controversy, like expectation, new style. They don't see the really innovative approach to recording stuff. Something that Metallica actually repeated on Saint Anger. They did something similar. They don't see this very quality sound of this album. That was top production.
Well, the quality, right? Sonically, everything in the 90s is really good.
Not overcompressed. Without auto-tune before 1997, that was the gold age. Like from 1992, 3 to 96, that was the gold age of production. Like the modern technology was there, the modern devices, digital stuff was coming up, and James's vocal sounded so... That was his top voice.
You know, they grew up, so their music kind of became more toward an adult crowd, right? Like it feels more grown up in the 90s, especially like, you know, after the Black Album. But the Black Album does feel like growing up from And Justice for All of that anyways, right? Like And Justice for All sounds like the angry teenager before the Black Album came along, so...
It still has a lot of the 80s. It sounded like an amazing album from the 80s. The Load Reload were 90s already. And, well, since we talked about King Nothing, let's talk about your pieces of art, your amazing interpretations. I really love them, even though when I listen to them, say, My Friend of Misery and Justice for All, I think, well, I would have done something differently here and there, but that's what makes your stuff amazing. Well, let's talk about this. I have some notes, fucking notes. Alright, My Friend of Misery, your vision of it, if it was on Injustice for All. Kind of, it's supposed to be, so it was conceived back in those first years of Jason. Well, it was really long. You got it really right.
Yeah, it was...
Justice is long songs, very... Like, new riffs.
I think that one cleared 10 minutes, didn't it? I think it's over 10 minutes long.
That was like, you put all you could squeeze out of those riffs. Like, no variation left behind. Like, everything they got on the Justice, like all the variation, all the crazy, everything must be on tape. Nothing in the garbage. Right. Sandman and King Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It might be your best work, man. You got it so close to you. If Metallica would have done themselves. The real difference between Load, Reload, and the Black Album. What really guided you when you made Sandman in the body of King Nothing?
You know, everyone's been talking about that for years, right? King Nothing is just Center Sandman 2. You know, it's just the exact same song structure. So playing off of that, you got to have fun when you're on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get hate. With as much love as you might get, you get twice as much hate sometimes on certain videos and all that. So I thought this would be an excellent moment to, exercise that a little bit and see what we can do. So I figure, kind of go off of the feel of King Nothing with the drums and all that. And then from there, just take like Enter Sandman as a song. And then what would they be doing if they were playing two different parts? The like original chugs on the right side, and then I've got like a riff going on the left side on like the A string, like a and it's like it's 1996 right now or something like that. So
and really the live vibe, like Kirk and James played the only two guitars on stage, and that's how it goes on Load and Reload. Just what you hear live, what they tried to do on the Black Album, they did it on Load and Reload actually. And a couple of moments, keep you free from sin, and you'll edit it before it. Everyone noticed it. That was the most amazing part. Keep you.
He says, "I tuck you in, warm within," or whatever. But then I stole that "I" from the beginning of that, stuck it in there, and then kind of changed. I did that by accident too. Like everyone was talking about like they're like, "Oh, you made that sound." Like you changed the like phrasing or whatever of the
that was accident
verse vocals. And kind of like, okay, so I did it slightly on the Injustice for All Enter Sandman I did. And then so I was like, oh, well, I wonder if that would sound good on like the Load version too. And then I don't know, I cut a piece off by accident and pasted it in the middle. And I was like, wait a minute, that could go right there. And I ended up just putting it on. It sounded amazing. So I was like, that's so cool.
Everyone loved it. That's like something that in the beginning of the song, you just, oh my God, I gotta listen to the end. That guy has something for us. You really feel the essence of Metallica, how they would write this stuff. And maybe now Metallica might not repeat their sound, their approach to riffing on any album. They just live in the moment, whatever they are up to, now they capture it on tape. And that's why every Metallica album sounds differently, which in part is deliberately, accidentally, and just they just develop. They have different gear.
I'm kind of a freak when it comes to, like, I love researching music. I love researching bands. I always loved doing the VH1 behind the musics when I was young and all that. I love recording or looking up gear. So I'm super into the research behind it. So understanding each album and what they did for them is definitely a big help for like knowing what to do or what you think that they would do in that situation.
Yeah. And this thing, like, what if something was on different album? I don't see this kind of series, that kind of meme almost, with other bands other than Metallica on the internet. They seem to work only with Metallica for some reason.
Yeah, I haven't really seen much of it either.
Yeah, you could do all the songs.
Yeah.
Some guy said you gotta do 1,200 videos to have every song on every album. Even if you make like, what's the worst Metallica song in your opinion? Outside of Saint Anger. Outside of Saint Anger, oh man, that's a tough question. Broken, Beaten, Scarred or something maybe. You hate the song? Oh my God. James loves this.
I don't know why I don't like that song for some reason. Not a big fan of that song. Underdone in my opinion. The main riff is like, it almost there, but not quite there, the main riff. It lacks something to it. But the rest is all right, but or even I could probably pick like 3 or 4 songs off of Death Magnetic, but
Broken Bean Scarred, if it was on Saint Anger, it would have many views. Like any combination you would think of Metallica, what if it would work? People would listen to it. Even songs they hate, in the sound they hate, they would listen to it.
Especially songs they hate sometimes, man.
Yeah. I cannot imagine this applied to any other band than Metallica. This is some kind of magic. I don't know why. There's something on each album, but Metallica in general, that this works only with them. Even Megadeth does not really work in this regard.
It feels like really drastic with Metallica. It feels really drastic. Like people say there's not a lot of difference between Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, but like I would disagree. I would say you're getting you're still in Ride the Lightning getting a lot of like punk feeling stuff and whatever, but you are getting those same kind of E riffs, that are really fast, like on Master of Puppets, but it's just there's still something different. Like the guitar tone's way different.
Yeah.
Just the structure's way different. It's a lot more simple on Ride the Lightning, anyways.
And there are kind of filler songs, like Escape was written as a filler song. Just we gotta have the 8th note, even though I love it. Metallica does not love it, but still. Ride the Lightning is like Master of Puppets beta version. Like Master of Puppets is a matured Ride the Lightning. Like we have a lot of things on Ride the Lightning that would be on Master of Puppets, Justice for All, and so on. Instrumental, ballad, harmonies, finally harmonies, and so on. Clean intro, acoustic intro, something that Metallica did for the first time, and something really stuck to them to this day. We expect a cool interlude, a cool ballad, a cool intro, whatever. So yeah, I love Ride the Lightning, and James says it's his favorite album, even though he hates the reverb on this album. Speaking of this, what if? You were one of the pioneers of this, but you were not the first one to do it, yeah? There were guys like, we don't see him anymore. Guitar Raz, Crabble Star,
yeah.
Yeah, and guys like the guy with the last name, Barilla, yeah? I don't
even
know.
Bryce, he's been around for a couple of years, I think, now.
Yeah, you are the leaders of this movement on the internet, like What If Metallica.
Yeah, I think I just passed Guitar Raz on subs. I felt bad.
Man, we need you
I
back,
was like, the great Guitar Raz.
We need you guys back.
I know. I didn't know when I posted my first one that this was a thing that people were doing. I literally just I got, so Steven Slate, it's like a VST drum kit. It like comes with a free Black Album drum kit inside of it, right? And I was just messing around. I posted something online, and then I woke up one morning a year later. I didn't think anything of it. Woke up a year later, and then it had 100,000 views on it in a night. And I was like, oh, people like to watch this, I guess. And then I discovered Guitar Raz, and I was like, oh, this is already a giant, or not giant, but it's already a thing going on. So
but it took off. It took off big time, and a lot of people started doing this in their own way, bring their own vision and touch to it. That's amazing, and it's all about Metallica still. It's still the same fucking band. That was such a great movement. Unfortunately, some soldiers, they fell along the way. YouTube is a tough thing, but we appreciate their contribution. And you still here, you are in the front of the wave of this What If series. Still, I don't have right words to describe how precise you are, how accurate you are. Just replicating that tone and that touch of songwriting. It's not just because of tone, but the way Metallica composes, like, both, the perfect storm. If you have not subscribed to him, to StateOfMercury, I'll leave all the links in the description and everywhere. Follow him. You might meet me in the comments, even though it's funny, man, that I post like 2 comments a month.
Yeah.
But whenever I post them, people say, man, I see you everywhere, you under all the Metallica videos. It kind of pisses me off because I post 2 comments a month. But over the time, like 6 years, I seem to be everywhere. It seems like spam. Yeah. I seem like be on every Metallica video to promote myself. No, it's just 6 years. Like 100 comments.
It's over time, right?
But still, I cannot resist commenting on videos that you and other guys make sometimes. That's amazing. And people cannot imagine that's all done on computer. VST plugins, yeah?
Yeah. I don't have gear. Like I do record, I record amps and stuff like that. But when I'm doing this stuff, I'm just doing VSTs. It's way easier because I can pump out a video way faster.
That's unimaginable. Like 2 decades ago, people fucked with this gear, like, oh my god, how to get this perfect tone. And now you can do everything with just like this on the computer. Do Metallica actually know about all this? Anyone can do their tone better than they could do now. Like, are they aware of all this digital stuff, VST plugins?
I've wondered that too. I've wondered if they even know, like, if anybody's come across the What If movement going on, or if they've seen anything, because I some of Guitar Raz's videos have 600,000-700,000 views on them. So I mean,
and Crabble Star's videos, I think Hardware, it's past 1 million views. I think that's amazing.
Wow.
And what's your favorite What If on your channel?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Let me check my videos here. I have to remember which ones I did. Fuel on Saint Anger was fun. Wasn't my best one, I would say, but it was fun just to get to play in dropped tuning there, and I did also like the Enter Sandman on load. That's any of the ones I put on Black Album seem to be a lot of fun to me, actually. Like the thing that should not be on the Black Album, again, maybe not my best work, but I love having to rewrite a riff. Memory Remains on the Black Album, that one I thought I did a really cool guitar riff on. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, I got a lot of my love from everybody on the Enter Sandman and Justice for All one, right? So that one I'll always have special place for.
That's
I guess.
epic. And Enter Sandman on load is pretty epic too. It's probably my favorite one. Even though I'm not a big fan of neither Sandman or King Nothing. And My Fair No Misery, that was really added, could have been, should have been, who knows, 10 fucking minutes.
Yeah, and the Justice ones are fun like that because, you know, I can extrapolate a little bit and put some random crap just in the middle of a song and everyone goes, well, that makes sense because it was Justice. Sure, yeah, why not? Yeah.
So do you think that Injustice for All is overdone and that's its flaw or its strong side? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's definitely overdone. Like, it's definitely overblown, but I mean, whether that's a negative thing or a positive thing, I mean, it depends on who you ask. If you're asking me, I would say a positive thing because I like to be surprised by music. I don't like to just listen to the same cookie cutter bullshit over and over again. So, you know what I mean? It's nice to hear random changes in tempo, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even, like, that don't even actually make any sense. They're not even congruent. Like, it's just...
Yeah, there's a lot of randomness there. Tempos and time signatures and just extra tutu, like in the Injustice for All song. Ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta,
yeah.
ta-ta-ta-ta. And they could
exactly.
ta-ta-ta-ta.
Yeah, and you're like, what is going on here?
They must have been drunk. Because they they were free to do whatever they want to do. That, like, whatever, Lars, play this. Ta-ta. All right, let's try it 3 times. Ta-ta-ta. How about 4 times?
Yeah.
Ta-ta-ta-ta.
How about even like, you know, you got the lead up to the solo in Frayed Ends of Sanity, that first you got that harmony riff and then it does that stop for your drums for a second and then and you're like, what is happening? Where did the song even go? It's a completely
so
different
random.
song now.
So random, but it works because Metallica actually tapped into some progressive waters. The way they overdid Injustice for All is overdoneness in a good way. But what they did on Death Magnetic, that was the bet overdoneness.
Trying too hard at that point.
Yeah. Justice for All, long songs. That's another way the record stands out. On top of the tone, you instantly recognize if the song has this scoop sound and no bass, if it is 8+ minutes, if it has all the possible variations of the riffs that Metallica came up with, like, everything must be on the album. We are too greedy to leave something out, to throw it away. That's what they did in the 80s. Everything went into production. And now they have to be more picky.
Right.
Some songs don't make the cut. Some songs just keep being remade, like All Nightmare Long, The End of the Line, song that could have been better. I hate it in a way.
Yeah. And I know they've kept ideas for years too, right? Like song names and titles and riffs.
Maybe it would be better if we did not know about the previous versions of the songs. Like, in a way, it ruined the magic of the song, like The End of the Line. We know what it had been through, like all this variation, that did not work out. Let's try this, that's still shit. And we end up with The End of the Line. Still a Frankenstein song. But on Injustice for All, we have all the songs, just deal with it. We have these tracks. And the demos sound pretty like 95%. But on the album, they wrote the songs in a couple of months, basically. They recorded the demo, in December 87. That's pretty much what we heard on the record. Imagine, they stitched up, they built their songs together with Lars in mere couple of weeks and months. That's incredible. That level of complexity, they must have been drunk.
They had to have been. I mean, like, even sitting, like, and that's the feeling you get. You're sitting down learning the song, and you're like, there's no way they recorded this. Like, there's just something so wrong with it sometimes. You're playing the songs, you're like, how did they even do this? Like, I don't even, having to remember that and play those songs live.
They
like,
don't.
I know why they didn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
They cannot remember
And
them.
now I know why they dumbed them down and stuff like that, and why Lars has no idea where he is sometimes. And
the recent confession by Lars that he kind of hates Eye of the Beholder. Yeah, it's kind of a weak song. He says that it's more random than other tracks on Justice for All. It has too much changes, too many moods in one composition. But
Right.
it's gonna have a weak main riff. Main riff gotta be strong. It's kind of weaker comparison to other tracks, but the solo, the Kirk solo is amazing. And that's what makes these songs from the 80s so amazing. Even songs that they consider crap, Kirk does the great job there.
Oh yeah. Almost every song has got some shredding solo, especially on Injustice for All. Like, you know, he's just whipping out dive bombs and tapping all over. It's insane guitar, man.
And they had no boundaries. They just put as many riffs as possible. And on the Black Album, they were tired of it in many ways. Starting with Black Album, they started following more of the formulas, and still they follow formulas. But they might change.
No, I think I remember even seeing, I think it was one of your videos or something like that was talking about like the average amount of riffs on an album.
Saint Anger has the most riffs, actually. I think like 88 or something. And Justice for All was that was too, like honoring Saint Anger in some way. They have some pretty interesting layers. Say in the intro to Unnamed Feeling. You hear first this da 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 da, very simple, but it sounds very heavy. And then we have the cleanish riff, dun, da, 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 and then we have da, 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 another part which is completely different, plus bass. The 4 melodies go in the same time. That's something we should appreciate. Saint Anger for at least Unnamed Feeling. But
I like that song a lot, actually. It's probably one of my favorites.
My favorite too. It's the interlude with all the fucks. It seems like James had let it all out. And on Death Magnetic, he did not swear a single time. Because he left everything on Saint Anger and Unnamed Feeling. And motherfucker in my head, my world. That's the only time that the song. That's the only song that started with a swearing on Metallica.
Yeah, he went pretty hard on that one, eh?
On top of many riffs, we have many swearings.
Oh, yes.
If not to count Ate My Bitch, we have bitch and ass 10 or 12 times throughout the song. But it's light swearing. That's not that crucial.
Yeah.
All right, man. We gotta wrap it up at some point. Metallica is an endless source of discussion, riffs, music, memes, whatever. And you prove it with your works. You got a lot of songs to go through. Like, your channel will be for another 40 years. To go through...
I've got a lot, man.
1,200 videos.
As I mentioned in the intro, it's not 1,200, but almost 900.
You've proven there's obviously tons of room for content. I mean, you post tons of videos about stuff too, right? So
I thought it would end in 2017, but I still come up with ideas. Some say it forced ideas. No, I really like them. If an idea is bad, I don't make a video after it. I'm making a list of 100 questions to Metallica. And I look at it and I think, man, there's like 100 more videos about Metallica I could do. If you have a question to Metallica that if I have a chance to ask it, I will. A question to Metallica and to some member of Metallica, maybe, if you have this particular question.
I'll think about that, and I'll definitely let you know for sure, man.
Yeah? All right. Then the next question would be boobs or butt?
Butt.
Straightforward, but all right. We'll see how the rest of the guys answer it. Say, James.
Yeah.
You are a really lovely guy. It's like, you never know what a guy from the internet would be like. Like, maybe he is a dick, maybe he is whatever. But you are just, we can be friends.
I love that, man. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, so man.
I agree. You're a good guy, man. And I love all your content. And just doing this is really, really cool with me. I've been super excited. I've been telling my friends and all that. So
that's a big honor to me, man. That's you really helped me. You really helped Metallica community with your job. The community is there. We will support you. And well, you have everything to become a big, in a way, like for this community, YouTuber, like over 100,000, definitely. You have the talent, the vision, and you have a moderate portion of not give a shit attitude. Like, you do your own thing.
Trying to avoid too much, like, I want to listen to the fans, listen to what people are saying, but I also, it needs to stay fresh and original. So every once in a while, I won't announce a song's coming, and I'll just say, hey, here you go. Here's St. Anger's Fuel on St. Anger or something like that. And everyone's like, what? It's like,
do whatever you want to do. Again, that's a huge honor to me to have you as the first blogger, internet guy, and real talent on this podcast. I'm really glad we started this way.
Yeah, I'm happy about this, man. It's good. So I hope we can talk again soon, and just keep in touch for sure. And this has been good. Also, I just want to plug Bryce Barilla really quick, because I'm not the only guy doing the rework stuff. So make sure you guys check him out too, because he is awesome. His work's amazing, and he's a good friend of mine as well. So
all the links in the description. These guys actually do the actual job.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time, friends. And be metal. We've done it!